Hello, welcome to my daily watercolor practice video. Today we will be practicing soft and hard edges. I do these videos every day and I practice something different every day of the week. I will link a playlist at the end of this video if you're interested to see the other ones that I've done. They are basically very simple, but what I like to do is to just focus on one thing, because it's easier to understand the concept if you're not trying to think about too many things at the same time. So we're literally just focusing on soft and hard edges. So I hope you join me. It's no matter whether you're a beginner or advanced, it will be easy enough, but also hopefully helpful, because I will just zoom in on this soft and hard edge, technically lost edge, soft and hard edge. And I find it helpful to just put one concept in one lesson. It just kind of clears the concept in my head a little bit. So the first thing I want to really practice is the types of edges. So there's lost edge, soft edge, and hard edge. Lost and soft edge are very similar. They are basically wet in wet edges. They are the blurry edges, kind of like here. The difference is that lost edge is just more fuzzy. So I might actually, I'm not sure if I will be able to create lost edge. I might struggle with this. Just so you know, in these videos I kind of show you everything. I show you all my mistakes. I show you how I practice regardless of how it turns out. Like, this was a disaster yesterday. Now look at that. This layer here, yeah. But I find it helpful even if I make mistakes, because, like, for example, right now I still have some red on my brush. But it's okay, maybe it will actually help you see what I'm doing. Okay, so for the lost edge, for both lost and soft edge, I will need to wet the paper. But what I need to do is try to put the layer color down pretty much as soon as possible, so that it really blurs. It's really blurry. I think I'm gonna use red, since my kind of background is already red anyway. Right, very wet paper. I might have overdone it. And now, if using a fairly wet pigment, like wet consistency of the paint, if it's like lots of water, it will probably create more of a lost edge. I'm not sure if it's going to be lost enough. Another thing I can do is try to help it move around. It's okay if it doesn't turn out exactly the way I want it. I will help it move along by using a clean brush and just prodding these edges. I just want to kind of have the lost edge to be a bit more lost than the soft edge, because that's basically the meaning of the lost edge. It's where you can't really see where it kind of ends. Okay, I think that's fine. It's it's looking a bit messy, but next time I go to my sketchbook, I think I'll understand what I was trying to do here. Okay, so next one should be a little bit easier. It's just a soft edge. So again, water and then color. Let's go for blue this time. So how pigmented your wash is, how much pigment to water ratio will also impact how far it spreads. I'm going to do kind of like a medium consistency, so it will be soft, but it will not be completely lost. Okay, it's even kind of almost hard here because the paper was not that wet here, but I think there is enough of a difference. It would be good if my actually layer of water was not red, because this is kind of interfering with the concept. But like I mentioned, I do make mistakes here. It is what it is. And the last one is kind of the easiest one, self-explanatory. So that's wet, painted wet on dry. So I'm not putting any water down. And because of that, because I'm painting just with paint, not using water, I'm creating hard edge. This is actually because I have so much, the paint is kind of so dry, it's actually even creating a dry brush effect. Not using enough water, but I'm just gonna go over it. Okay, so that's a fairly simple explanation, just to kind of have this stored in my head. I will wait for it to dry. I think I might have to wait a little bit, and then I'm going to try how to create soft edge. Okay, so there are a few ways to create a soft edge. So I'm going to practice this on the next page. My lost edge is not looking very lost. I feel more lost than my lost edge. If you're practicing with me, I'm curious if you've managed to do this, because I always struggle with these ones. But for example, I do have a lost edge like here, so I guess I can do it, just not when I'm practicing, I guess. Anyway, let's move on to more exercises. So I wrote all this down just to kind of not have to remember and make sure that, you know, I do everything that I wanted to do. So I want to now practice how to create a soft edge. So we can do them either doing wet in wet, first by laying down some water. So basically what I did on the previous page, but this is kind of the simplest way, I guess. So let's just repeat that a little bit. Just going to create a little bit of a ta-da, and maybe this time I'll do like a circle or something. So, and this way, well, technically this is more like a lost edge, but anyway, the concept is there. Now the next way is to actually, instead of putting the water down first, you can put the paint down first. So I'll just use the same yellow. So technically I will be creating soft and hard edge, because where the paint, this layer meets the paper, that's actually where the hard edge is. But now before this dries, I just need to put down, drop a little bit of color. And now that creates a soft edge between those two colors. Let me just fix this one a little bit, because yeah, that was supposed to be a soft edge, but it's kind of gone too soft. There we go, there's my lost edge. Okay, so next way that we can do it is by softening. So for example, again, we put something down, put a wash down. Let's maybe do this time like an actual circle. And for example, I want to soften this side for whatever reason. So I clean my brush, use a damp brush, not too drippy. And just with the damp brush, I can soften this edge. And then everything else is hard, but this is a soft edge. Okay, next one is with a spray bottle, but this one is a bit messy. I wonder if I'll be able to do this. Let's see. So let's say I have a wash. I want to try to protect the other ones. So it needs to be like a spray bottle that creates mist, rather than like the droplets are not too big. And what we do is just do a little spray, and then it creates this soft edge as well. Just mop this up a little bit, because I don't really need so much water up here. So this one is a bit harder to control, but it's, if you have this fine mist, creates very nice soft edge. And the last one is by blotting. So for example, I put a wash down, so I have a hard edge again all over, but then I can decide that I want to create a highlight. Well, I wouldn't really create a highlight like this, but basically I'm blotting this kind of part of it. So it's not really super soft. It's probably the least soft edge, but it does kind of break up the hardness of it. So it's something in between, I guess. Let me just mop this up a little bit. So this one, I probably just went a little bit too fast in here because this is not showing. It was supposed to be more contained and show a soft edge, but it basically ended up being lost edge. Doesn't matter. I still will kind of, I think I will understand the concept next time I go and have a look at it. Now, the next thing I want to do is create or like paint a rose, but I will be using soft edge, hard edge, then soft edge in the middle and hard on the petals, and the other way around. So my rose is not really going to be a painting. It's more like it's just a practice. It's just to show me how I can paint something. It's not going to be a pretty painting. It's just something to practice. But I do want to tape my corners because I'm going to start with the wet one. So I'll be back after I've taped a little bit around. Okay, so now I'm going to paint rose using soft edges. Technically, it might be soft. There's hair somewhere. Ah, never mind. There will be soft and probably some lost edges as well. But it is kind of, can be difficult to control soft edges and lost edges. Wet in wet is generally kind of one of the harder concepts of watercolor, I believe. So I'm just going to kind of use both, not to overcomplicate this, but I will be, that was my chair by the way, I will be trying to paint the roses with a similar brush stroke, similar kind of technique, I guess, same paint, because I want to be able to compare them at the end. Right, I think I might have to clean my palette a little bit because it's gotten messy as per usual. I'm going to use permanent rose for this, but choose whichever color you want. I just kind of thought, hey, I'm painting a rose, I may as well use permanent rose for it. My paper is quickly drying, so I need to, should have really prepared the wash first. But hey, that's me, disorganized. Okay, so I'm going to use the wash with the same strength, because it's not supposed to be, that's not how I normally would be painting, but it's not supposed to be pretty, it's more to illustrate the concept. So I will start, oh god, that's too wet. Start from the center. That's so hard to control. I think I probably should have let it dry a little bit more. Goodness. So very soft and dreamy. Definitely gonna be hard to identify as a rose, because normally when we paint we use those soft and hard edges to our advantage, more strategically. Now some, for example, like this is, the paper is starting to dry, so some of them are getting a little bit not as soft. See that the center is the most lost edge really, because it was so damp when I started. Okay, so kind of like a shadow of a rose, I'd say, but very hard really to recognize. Not really a painting, but this concept can be used for something dreamy. Then you could just add some more details. Right, I'm going to have to let this dry, and then I'm going to do a hard edge rose, which is going to be very sharp, very detailed, and probably not very pretty. We're going to move on to rose number 2, but before we do, I just wanted you to join me in peeling this, because this is the most satisfying part, and I didn't want you to miss it. Cute. This definitely became a hard edge, but I think generally the concept is there. Okay, I'm gonna have to tape this again because I want them to look fairly similar, just the difference being the edges, I guess. So I'll be back. Okay, time for a hard edge rose. I will use the same color, similar strength. but this time dry paper. So very detailed, much more controlled. Mistakes will be much easier to spot. But will probably also be quite boring. Okay. So I'm just kind of using this compounding stroke, where a bit like when you paint leaves. Just trying to create like a bit of a like a thin edge, then pressing down on the belly of the brush and lifting it up. And I'm going kind of around the rows, like overlapping the petals, I guess. I'm not really too bothered for the wash to be very flat. I'm okay with all these like transitions. They basically happen depending on how much paint I have on my brush. So if you have a different brush, if you have a bigger or smaller, it could come out differently. Basically, should really move on to a bigger brush, but we're nearly at the end, so I think I'm just going to carry on. Just try to make like bigger strokes and stuff. Almost running out of my wash. There we go. So fairly simple, but also kind of boring. So that's the thing. If we're just using soft or hard edges only, then there's not enough variety and it just becomes a little flat, a little boring. Next one, I will do hard edge in the center and then soft on the outside. So I will first do obviously the center, and then I will add some water around. But I will not do a transition. Let's just carry on, then you'll see what I do, what I mean. Because I'm not trying to like be super pretty with these rows. It's just more of a like illustrating a concept. That also is my excuse for why they are ugly. Okay. Maybe a little bit more hard edge. Now there's different ways you can do. You could just wet it around, or you could, for example, start softening the petals. That's actually how I usually paint a rose. I would then start softening the petals, then I add some more details to the center and just kind of like, you know, mix it up. Right, I think that's probably enough. I will now just quickly, should I use this brush, big one? I will just wet this, especially at the edges. Actually, I could start maybe from going from the outside. No, I'm overthinking. Let's just do it as planned. Okay, so same wash, but this time it will start hitting the water in some places. Or is it not enough water? Oh, come on. Where's the water? I might have been a little bit careful, and it's only on the edges. It's kind of starting to show how they are starting to soften. It's not exactly what I was planning to do. I wanted to show the softness a little bit better, but they are starting to blur, so I guess it's fine. And then here. Okay, I think I'm going to end on this. We will just have to remove the tape, but there are two other exercises you could do. Well, more really, but what you could also do is do the reverse of this. So start with the soft edge, so wet like a circle or something. Start with the soft edge and then leave the rest dry, and then dry on the outside. But normally this would probably be more effective because we usually use hard edges for like details, and we use details for what we want to focus on. So it kind of makes more sense to like focus on the center of the rose rather than on the outside. And another thing you could do is actually mix them both. So do a soft one, kind of like this sort of version, a little bit, maybe not so drastic, but like soft rose, and then once it starts drying a bit, go in with a harder edge on top, or even when it's completely dry, up to you. But yeah, there's lots of different ways. So I do these kind of exercises daily, but I am actually taking 1 week break because I am going abroad for a week, and I will not really be able to do anymore. It would be a bit difficult for me. So the next one is, if you are interested, next one I will do on Monday 20th of April. But I also have, you know, the other 13, because this is my end of week 2 of me doing it. So I'll link the playlist at the end of this video, and I think I'm going to peel this. It might be a bit early, but let's just do this last thing. There we go. Kind of nice. It's getting there, isn't it? So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you try it for yourself. And remember, practicing will make you better. It's okay to make mistakes, but if you practice the concept, if you know, basically paint every day, whether it's successful or not, the fact that you painted is enough. Happy painting.